Welcome to Beyond Great Sex, the podcast that will revolutionize your sex life. I'm Morgan Horn. I'm a sex and intimacy coach, and I am going to give you the tools to create the mind blowing sex life that you've been craving. When you apply the teachings from this podcast, you will drop the shame, limiting beliefs, and everything else that has been keeping you from enjoying the intimacy that you were designed to experience. Instead, you will unleash your unlimited potential, sexual and beyond. When you work with me, great sex is only the beginning. We're going beyond. Hello, lovelies. How is it going? It is boiling hot where I am. I have the air conditioning on, the fan on, and I'm still a sweaty mess. So hopefully there's not going to be too much background noise with all that's running. But honestly, I just can't turn it off because it's either this or I don't record my podcast. So hopefully it will work. Today, let's work on making your relationship feel like new again. How does that sound? I know that many of you struggle to keep things sexy in the long run. And I understand how disheartening it can feel to be with someone you love, yet to feel like the spark has gone, like you're in a rut, always having the same kind of sex, feeling like there's nothing new and exciting anymore, that meh feeling. So, to help you with that, today I'm going to share with you one practical thing you can do right away to make your relationship feel fresh again. But first, let's quickly discuss why you struggle to keep your long term relationship exciting. Because I think it helps to understand the mechanisms, the science behind what happens to us when we struggle with something. There is a reason why, at the beginning of a relationship, the excitement and passion can feel effortless. Yet, over time, many couples are unable to maintain that initial level of excitement, and their sex life ends up dwindling. And that's because brains like novelty. The human brain is wired to seek out new and stimulating experiences. When we first enter a romantic relationship, everything about our partner is new and exciting. Every touch, glance, or conversation with our partner is charged with electricity. That's because it's all unknown territory. Our brains get excited by everything at the start. Getting a text saying we're cute, wondering if they're going to try and hold our hand on our first date, the rush we get when we kiss for the first time, getting to know each other, watching them take their clothes off for the first time, wondering where or how they're going to touch us, exploring each other's bodies, discovering new things about each other, and so on. Scientifically, what happens is this novelty triggers the release of dopamine in the brain, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. Dopamine creates feelings of euphoria and deepens our attraction. It makes our partner seem endlessly fascinating. But as time passes, the novelty wears off. We become more familiar with our partner and their habits and quirks, and we start to fall into predictable routines. And a thing called neural adaptation and habituation happens. Again, it's science. Our brain establishes neural pathways, that's networks of neurons that transmit signals between different areas of the brain and body. And these pathways enable functions like thought, movement, and even sensation. You can think of them as roads going from A to B. Now imagine driving for the first time from home to a new workplace. You might notice a ton of different things on this new road. You might notice beautiful homes on the way, nice trees and flower bushes. You might pay attention to the particular light in the early morning. You might get excited by how scenic or how practical the drive is. Now imagine taking that same road for 3, 10, or even 20 years every day. Do you think you're going to notice, let alone get excited by those same houses, trees, and flowers every single day? Probably not. That's because our brain's neural pathways adapt to repeated stimuli over time. New experiences and stimuli create strong and exciting neural responses. And as these experiences become routine, the brain becomes less responsive to the same stimuli. That's because brains are wired to conserve energy. It's a survival thing. Imagine getting overly excited and stimulated by everything all the time, constantly processing new information and creating new neural pathways. That's building new roads in your brain. It would require so much brain energy. It would be exhausting. You wouldn't be able to function and go about your day. I mean, why do you think puppies and babies sleep so much? So, to avoid spending all that energy, our brain likes to predict outcomes. It likes to think we've been on that road to work enough times. We don't need to pay attention to every single detail and get excited about every house and every tree and all the flowers and the lights. We already know they're there. We've seen them. Let's just get to work and back home. Let's be efficient. And just like your drive to work, the same happens to your relationship. As the brain becomes accustomed to your partner's touch, to their appearance, to the sexual routines, the initial high levels of excitement diminish, and dopamine levels in response to the same stimuli decrease, reducing your feeling of excitement and even the sensations of pleasure. So, what do we do about this? The answer is we create novelty. We create new stimuli to get the brain excited again. Now, before you turn this off, because you're sick of hearing the same advice from everyone, try new positions, new places, add a new toy, try opening the relationship, spice things up in the bedroom. I get it. You've tried some of it, maybe even all of it, and you still find yourself unexcited and stuck. Here's the thing. Novelty wears off. If you're constantly relying on new experiences to keep the sex entertaining, you will eventually find yourself stuck down the line. There's only so many new positions you can try. Let's face it, we're not all professional gymnasts. There's only so many toys you can buy and new places where you can go have sex. If I'm to draw a parallel with my drive to work analogy from earlier, there's only so many roads you can take to go to work to keep things interesting. Okay? And as for opening the relationship and having sex with new people, you shouldn't have to go there if you don't want to. Bringing new people in because you're feeling stuck in your relationship is the last reason why you should do it. And even if sex with multiple people is what you're into, after a couple of times, that will stop being exciting too. So, what do I mean when I say that we need to create novelty? What we want to do is simply look at our partner and relationship with fresh eyes. There's a principle from Buddhism called beginner's mind or shoshin, which basically involves approaching experiences, tasks, etc., as if it were the first time. And in a long-term relationship, that means approaching our partner and our relationship with curiosity, openness, and a lack of preconceptions. We need to essentially tell our brain, I get why you want to conserve energy, but not on this, brain. This relationship, the intimacy, the sex deserves that we spend energy on it. We don't want to predict outcomes about our partner and how the sex is going to go and how everything is going to feel. We want to get curious again, open to discovering new things. And we absolutely want to get excited to feel the chills and the heat we felt at the start. And the beauty about this beginner's mind principle is that it actually works because the brain cannot tell the difference between a quote unquote truly new experience and an experience you have had before if you approach it with this curiosity, this openness, and lack of preconceptions. Now, let's get practical. I'm going to share with you 5 easy ways in which you can apply this concept right away and start immediately observing shifts in how you perceive your partner and how you feel about your relationship. The first one is first time observation. Next time you see your partner, imagine you're seeing them for the first time. Spend a few moments really looking at them. Notice the color of their eyes, the way their hair falls, their smile, and all the small details you might usually overlook. Observe their posture, their gestures, the way they move. Pay attention to their facial expressions and how they change with their emotions. What do you notice about them? What comes to your mind? When I do that, I always notice my partner's hands. I find them beautiful. And the funny thing is, it's one of the first things I noticed on our first date. I also notice many things I would normally overlook when I don't really pay attention to him, like how distracted and scattered he gets halfway through a task, which is why I'm always closing cupboards after him and things like that. And it often annoys me. Yet when I'm just observing him with those fresh eyes, I find it cute, not annoying. What will also likely happen is that your partner will notice that you're looking at them differently. They will notice the intensity. They will feel seen. It's a way to create connection and bonding. The second practice I'm proposing to you today is first time touch. When you touch your partner, I want you to focus on the sensations as if you were touching them for the first time. Notice the texture of their skin, the warmth, the way their body responds to your touch. When you hug your partner, hold them with full awareness. Feel the pressure of their body against yours, the rhythm of their breathing, their heart beating up against your chest, the comfort of their embrace. What do you notice? Do you feel any sensations in your body? The third practice I'm recommending is rediscovering your partner's voice. When your partner speaks, listen as if it were the first time you heard their voice. Pay attention to the tone, the pitch, the rhythm. Notice how their voice makes you feel. You can also focus on the content of what they're saying as if you were hearing their thoughts and feelings for the first time. Try to understand and appreciate their perspective without any preconceived notions. The fourth practice I'm recommending today is seeing things through new eyes. Approach every activities you do together as if you were experiencing them for the first time, whether it's making breakfast together, watching a movie, going for a walk, having sex. Pay attention to the details and the experience. Now, my all-time favorite, number 5, it's first time kissing. When you kiss your partner, go about it as if it were the first time. I'm not talking about a quick peck on your way out the door as you head to the grocery store. I mean a real kiss where you slow down and pay attention to all the sensations. Notice the softness of your partner's lips, the taste, the warmth, the movement. Be aware of how your bodies respond to the kiss. Feel the pressure, the electricity coursing through your body, the chills, the movement of your tongues, and the overall experience of closeness and intimacy. What do you feel? I can tell you that each and every time I practice intentionally kissing my partner as if it were the first time, I get what I call in French le feu dans la culotte, which loosely translates into having my pants on fire. I literally get that feeling, like a tingling flame just bursts in my genitals, just like the first time my partner and I kissed. And the amazing thing is, every single time I do this, he gets chills. That's because he can feel the energy and the intensity that I put behind that kiss. I'm telling you, this stuff works. The kiss is my favorite one to do because I find personally that it doesn't require effort. I'm able to be present with the sensations in my body and to be curious and open as if it were the first time in a split second. Also, it's something easily doable multiple times in a day. It only takes minutes. And let's face it, it's quite pleasant. But I do recommend that you try different things and see what lands with you. We're not talking about a practice that should take, hours a day, just a couple of seconds or minutes where you just pay close attention. Now, your brain might be a little skeptical or resistant at first. You might notice thoughts like, please, I've kissed my partner before. I know exactly how it feels. I know exactly where this is going. Or paying attention to their voice. Come on, we've been together 20 years. I know the sound of their voice. And guess what? It doesn't do anything for me. When that happens, remember, your brain just wants to be efficient and to conserve energy. That's why it likes to tell you to not waste your time and that you already know the outcome. But what if you don't? One thing you can remind yourself of when your brain is rebelling is that technically it is the first time that you're kissing your partner or seeing them or making breakfast with them or whatever it is you're practicing doing with fresh eyes, because today has never happened before. You're not the same person you were yesterday, and neither is your partner. Yes, you may have kissed this person for 20 years, but they have evolved into different versions of themselves along those 20 years, haven't they? So have you, and so has your relationship, by the way. Your relationship isn't the same as when you two started dating. You're no longer who you were yesterday, and you're not yet who you will be tomorrow. So the present moment is new. How fun. Okay, lovelies. I hope you've enjoyed today's teachings. Now go and practice that beginner's mind skill. There is a reason why I called this episode One Skill to Make Your Longtime Partner Feel Like New Again. And it's because it is a skill that requires practice and mastery. It's a muscle we need to train. Remember, mindset work is like gym for the brain. And like I said, our brain is lazy and wants to conserve energy. But trust me, it is so worth the quote unquote effort. I teach this to all my clients, some of them who have been in relationships for 30 plus years, and they find that the sex has never been better than it is now. This stuff works. Now, don't just listen to this podcast. Go find your partner and kiss them like it's the first time, okay? And please report back. In the show notes of this episode, you'll find my email address and my Instagram handle. Please come find me for real. I love hearing about all the shifts you guys experience when you apply the tools I share on this podcast. I live for that stuff. Also, remember, I'm offering a free strategy session to anyone who writes me a review and shares the screenshot with me. And I ask that you send me the screenshot of your review just because, depending on where you're located at, I can't see it. So, if you have been enjoying the teachings of this podcast and you want to take this work deeper, go to Apple Podcasts, rate 5 stars, because who wants less, right? Write a review and share that review with me by email, Instagram, whatever is easier for you. I will then invite you for a strategy session where you can share with me where you're at. We can discuss any questions you have, and I will coach you and give you tips and recommendations on what you can do to boost your desire, feel more pleasure, and take your intimacy to the next level. How does that sound? Oh, and if you listen to my podcast on any other platform like Spotify, I would be immensely grateful if you would just click on 5 stars. It only takes a split second and it helps boost my podcast and reach more women like you who need this stuff. Okay, lovelies, thank you for listening today. I appreciate you and I look forward to our next episode. I'm not sure what it will be about just yet, but I know it will be good. Have a great day. Bye. If you have loved this episode, please add a rating, write a review, and share it around to help spread the word to all the women out there who need to hear this. I am so grateful for you listening. And if you're ready to take this work deeper, book your discovery session with me at www.morganhorn.com. That is morganehorn.com. We will explore any issue you would like help with, and you will learn all about my coaching program so you can get started on creating the sex life of your wildest dreams. I will see you there.